just realized the phone's gonna make sense. Bummer. Well, good morning, YouTube friends. Welcome to Simply Live with SimplyLesa. And this morning's subtopic is, does off-grid full-time camping, which I basically am doing, and homesteading or nomad life or van dwelling life or vehicle dwelling living, does it suck? And so we're going to explore that today. First off, I want to give people a few minutes to come in if they want to. Welcome, Greg from Oregon. I see you. Let's see, a little update. I was able to, I'm sorry, I have to sit back to get the lighting right, don't I? And I moved the chair. Let's see if I can get that better. So I was able, thanks to a couple of really good friends of mine that are part-time nomadic. One of them is part-time nomadic, and the other one is part-time an RV person. Hi, Iris. Welcome. And I don't see who else's names. Anybody that wants to say hi, just chat hi is fine. We like to see who's part of our community. So I was able to visit with them for a week, and I needed the break really bad. As we get into the subject today, I'm going to talk about building in breaks, because I haven't been able to do that before or something. It was good for me. I know that my voice to me sounds stronger today, more okay. I'm not able to see every message when I'm talking. I'm not always paying very close attention, which is not that smart, right? But let's see. Oh, you're welcome, Iris. While we're in the introductory part of this, I want to mention to you that one of my close friends and one of our community members here on the Simply Lives, they're, I don't know whether to call it adoptive, sort of like that. Their second mom passed away. And so I know that they're feeling a lot of grief and processing in their life. And I wish them all the best, and I know how hard it is to grieve. Losses can be challenging. And then I won't say any more about that, so that they can perhaps get a little break from what's been going on by being in the community group with us. If you have a question for me today, if you would please put an uppercase Q first and a couple of spaces, and then your question, and I will do what I can. Let's see. Other updates around here. I think I'm going to let the updates come out today as I'm speaking, because the subject I chose is pretty relative to what's been happening. Getting a break has been wonderful. Most of you all know that I do finally have a diagnosis for what has been an ongoing health issue my whole life, and that it's MS. I did get updated testing and MRIs, and I got the results for that while I was away. Those results have shown that there is no progression in 2 years. Yay! And then I learned something from what I would call a tourist style walk, but the friends I was with were calling a hike. So I've had to process some stuff with that. But I want to get onto the subject because it's on my mind. So, does off-grid living or full-time camping or micro homesteading or homesteading or nomad life or van dwelling or van living or vehicle living, does off-grid living suck? Yes and no. And let's go through some of my thoughts on this whole thing because, first off, I want to say, just know that everything in this lifestyle is harder. It's more difficult. It takes more energy. It is harder. Being alone for long periods of time, if you choose that style of off-grid living, it's harder because you have to keep your mind occupied and your body strong, and you have to process lots of things. So I find that it's harder. It sometimes is cheaper, but not always. And if you consider that an expenditure of energy has a value similar to money, it's not cheaper. It's not. And when I was a van dweller, nomad, living in vehicles, it can be more expensive. And we've discussed that before some. Part of the more expensive part is that because things are more available to you and you notice what other people have, you start to look at those things, or I do, start to look at those things and go, oh, am I missing out? Oh, I didn't make my coffee fast. They make theirs faster than me. And then you start thinking about whether the grass is always greener. And so that comes with its own thing. It's not always cheaper. It may be cheaper in everyday ongoing expenses, as in once you finish paying for your land, you no longer have that payment. Once you've paid the taxes for the year, you no longer have that payment. Once you've, got a paid for vehicle, you no longer have a car payment. And so in that way, you can work it out to your advantage. It takes a lot of energy, a lot of creativity, a lot of good old hard work. It takes physical labor. It takes the ability to provide for your own needs, sometimes in a more self-sufficient way than you might in a more urban setting. In an urban setting, you might just go to the grocery store and buy groceries. And in a rural off-grid situation, or in a van dwelling, van lifer, nomad, vehicle living way, you might choose to do some form of gardening. Now, to me, I consider even growing sprouts in a city apartment, you can do that on windowsill, or in a vehicle. If you're living in a vehicle, you can grow sprouts in your vehicle, and those things will help you to have fresh foods that you might not otherwise be able to afford or whatever. It is less expensive to buy seed, but it's more labor intensive, and you have to provide a space for that and whatever else. But so gardening is a thing. You might choose to have animals. And if you choose to have animals, whether it's to provide for meat or just for your enjoyment, or for like I do with my two cats, it's for it's for protection from animals. And in my case, the cats are protection from rodents and rats, which here is ground squirrels, chunks, and rats, and rabbits. And some people may choose to have dogs. Um, I would have a dog most likely as a companion, and to help have that extra presence of of the smell of the dog around, if I could find one that is hypoallergenic and works for me. I haven't been able to find that yet. Um, uh, it also takes more energy to care for animals, because you have to house them, you have to provide safety for them from predators, you have to be able to store their food and provide and store water for them, depending on where you live as to whether you have to store it, or it's just, whether you have good access to, open water source for, say, for example, if you have cattles, you often will have like a cattle tank or a cattle pond or something like that. If you have small animals, even just if you're having chickens or something like that, you have to provide them water during bad weather events. And in my case, I have 4 seasons in Apache County, and the water will freeze for just about 3 months of the year. You've got to watch the frozen water thing. And that's why, even my cats, somehow we have to provide them with fresh water while I have them, because they're working for me. They're yes, their enjoyment and their company, but they're here as working cats to provide help and protection from those wild animals, and those wild animals, in the case of cats, being rats and things of that nature. Um, by them doing the natural thing, and I'm sorry if it bothers anybody, it's not my intention to bother you, but by doing their natural thing to uh, kill and eat rodents, especially rodents and sometimes rabbits, um, they keep those things out of my initial yard. And my initial yard uh, is not my whole property. It's just where there's a small fence to keep out the larger animals, like the free range cattle, the coyotes, the elk, the deer, things like that. But by keeping this small area as rodent free as possible, then it allows me to grow food in a garden situation and not have it eaten before it grows. It also prevents the animals that prey on the rodents, which happens to be, let's see, there are um, birds of prey, but the cats are prey as the cats are food for them as well. So that's not what they're preventing. But the cats prevent snakes that like to eat rodents from coming in the yard as well. And that also prevents a couple of other birds like roadrunners from being here, because roadrunners' favorite food is rattlesnakes and things of that nature. So they help kind of control that situation, and it really does help a tremendous amount. Um, uh, but in this, I think I'm going to start using the term full-time camping, because basically that's what I've been doing for many, many years. I have been a full-time, somebody jokingly the other day in person said professional, um, and they might be right, camper. Uh, I have basically, since I left my parents' house, I have occasionally had like an apartment situation, but not very much. Um, and so most of my experiences have been full-time camping, basically. So it is harder. It takes energy. It does suck a lot of times. Um, when you're vehicle camping, there are times when your bathroom situation is awkward or challenging if you're close to other people and you can't get away from them, or if you can't provide for you as a woman enough cover for yourself. There are multiple ways to do that, but there are times when it's just awkward. Um, there are times when you have a health issue, like people with IBS and things, or where you just get Montezuma's revenge and have diarrhea, and you just can't. It's like you have an immediate need, and it doesn't matter who's around. You got to take care of it. And there are moments like that in life, and especially when you're full-time camping. And that's just one piece of it. There's the scary sounds, there's weather events, there's 3 feet of snow, and then how the heck are you going to stay warm? Or there's a horribly scary lightning storm, and it shakes the ground and you see it flash close to you. And those things are hard. And does it suck? Yeah, absolutely. And can it be wonderful? Yes. So it's a yes, no answer. And the sucky parts, the things like your cell phone signal's not working really well and you can't fix it. And you've tried everything to fix it, and there's just no fixing it unless you move somewhere or drive somewhere. But maybe then your car's not working right and you can't just move or whatever. You know, uh, the internet, maybe you can't afford the service you'd like. That happens for me sometimes because I'm low income. The self-care when you're sick, or when you learn what your disability truly is, and you start to figure out how you're going to manage that. All of those things, it takes a lot of energy, work, sometimes money. And it's not always cheaper, and it does suck sometimes. And yet, just like every part of life, it also has those moments when, like right now, the weather is fabulous at my place. And the evenings are cool and the daytimes are sunny and cool with a little breeze. Yes, sometimes the wind is bad, but uh, I was able to go up on the ridge the other day and just sit and meditate and, wait for some inspiration or something sometimes, and being able to see the animals and, you know, it's a beautiful place here where I am specifically, but in other situations, I have lovely campsites that I absolutely love to go to. Um, oh, in fact, up in the White Mountains, I love Big Lake area up in there. That's beautiful. Um, my fingers coming close to the screen because I wanna check some timing. Says I've been talking for about 20 minutes. Um, and I'm going to check you guys' comments by clicking on this. and see if I can see any questions. Yeah, it's a little hard for me to see the screen, and I want to shade, but that doesn't help me. I can't really read the because the screen's kind of dark, I can't read names very well. Thank you for I can't see your name, but thank you for the kudos and the I love to watch your videos, and I am so used to everybody misspelling my name. I am so used to that. Do not worry. Um over the hill and over the mountain. Are you here? I see Iris saying something. Oh, wonderful. Thank you, all of you. Yeah, Iris, Chihuahuas, I can't. I tried. I can't do Chihuahuas. I do really well with a Yorkie mix. She was talking about animals and pets like dogs. And so Iris, that thing I can't really I can't do a Chihuahua. But I would love to have another Yorkie mix if I could find one. There are other things. John, it's so wonderful to see you. And I was going to email you in the next couple of days. Let me know, are you going to come around this spring? I'm starting to have, I think this week, I'm going to have a couple of people coming through, which will be nice. Um, oh crap. I so absolutely love having company when they're able to come through. Can you tell me how you, okay, let me see if I can get that one back. They put this new to me arrow on the screen, and it's right where I see the chats at. I don't like it there. Make it go away. But that's because I'm on my phone today and not on the computer that has a larger screen. Question. Oh, come freaking on. I hit that thing again. Come on, Lesa. Live chat. Sometimes it's hard to maneuver these things when they're little. And now that I understand that I have MS, when I go to the eye doctor again, I should be able to get a better understanding of what the eye problem is that I've had since I was since I've always had. And I never knew what it was. But with MS, there is an eye issue. And mine, the eye doctor never could figure it out. My marketplace just showed shady dealers. How I found, yes, I can tell you that, Iris, how I found my vehicle. Generally harder these days, being alone while living. Yeah, it is. Oh, I agree with you. That's wonderful. Okay, prayers for the, yes. Yeah, I'm glad that you're praying for that friend. We won't continue with that comment though. Okay, so any questions? If you would just put an uppercase Q and maybe 2 or 3 and then a space, and tell me and send me a question. That's helpful to me so I can see it more easily. Should be going through in 2 or 3 weeks. I'll text you later. That's wonderful. Thank you, John. And the person before you. Okay. So my how I found my vehicle. Oh, and when I was gone, this is part of the sucky part of off-grid life. I had neighbors feeding my cats for me every couple of days, give them a little bit of food so they'll stay around. And they took off. And there was signs that either a coyote or a mountain lion, cougar, had been inside my yard fence. And so we didn't know, but the neighbors were very upset. And I understand that. I would have been upset as well. And they were concerned that they had been killed. And so they told me right away. They texted me and told me right away, and I appreciated that. But I came home and they weren't here, and I was very sad because I realized without these working cats, within less than a week, the rats will move into the yard. Or the rats are my biggest concern. The chipmunks will just eat the garden real fast, but the rats will move into the yard within like, and I can't handle that situation alone without the cats, and I need them. And so, I was very sad when I got here and they weren't here for a couple of days. They're back. They came home. I had not seen any sign of struggle when I got back and I started looking around. And so I kind of had a hunch they were alive. And then one night, really late, all the motion sensor lights in the around the studio came on, in a series, and it was a familiar series of that light went on, then the next one, then the next one, that reminded me of how when the cats were here they would come on. And so I looked outside and I opened the door and I called them, and I saw a shadow and I thought it was Big Girl, the larger cat, the older cat. And but it didn't come to me. And then the next night it happened again, and I opened the door and I called him again, and then I went to the other door because there's two doors to the studio, and did the same thing. Opened the door, called them, and recharged. A couple of my motion lights are rechargeable. I don't know if you can see the one back here. It's a round ball looking thing that's white on the wall. That's a rechargeable light. And so anyways, I recharged them so they'd be really strong. And I called the cats again. And I went to the front door and then I went to the back door. And I closed the door and turned around, and Little Bit was inside the house. I didn't see her come in. I was looking further, I don't know. Anyway, I didn't see her come in, but she came in. And then it was this morning that Big Girl came back. So they're both here. They're fine. I fed them some extra good food to keep them around. Not a can of tuna fish, although I've done that before. This time it was a can of cat food because I happen to have some. And it's like once a week, usually Sunday mornings, I try to give them a raw egg and a can of cat food. Just because I know that it gives them some extra vitamins, and it helps them feel special, so I know they'll try to come back. Anyway, so those kinds of worries are there. There's the whole, oh my gosh, I heard that sound, and I know that the neighbors have been talking about seeing shredded coyotes, which is a sign of um, a mountain lion or cougar kill. And they've been very concerned. And I'm fairly certain that down in the valley of my ridge that I live on, I'm fairly certain that there's mountain lions living down there. I don't see them. I see tracks in the snow once in a while. They don't bother me, but they haven't needed anything I've got. I'm careful, but there are some pretty scary things we have to think about in off-grid and van dwelling situations. And then of course there's also the human factor of being, that concerns us at times, concerns me at times. It's becoming more common in rural off-grid areas for there to be thieves or intruders. And there's always been the things that I call looky-loos, the people who are out for a Sunday drive and, maybe they're looking for property or maybe they're just dreaming. And those things can concern you as well. So there's a lot of mental energy gets taken up. There's the whole mail and deliveries thing, and the fact that my particular county's addressing sucks. And we have it, though. It's way better than it was when I first came here. And, you have to protect yourself from animals, weather. Is your method, the thing that you've chose to live in, your home, whether it's your vehicle or an RV, or you build something like I did. Is it safe? Is it protected? Is it going to be okay if go off for a week? Like I did. By the way, I got to go off and go to Sedona for a week. That was wonderful. All right, now I'm going to skip over to Iris's question and welcome whoever else has come in. I'm really glad to have you all here. Um, Iris asked how I found my car because she's not seeing things on Facebook Marketplace. I took myself off Facebook a few years ago. I'd had a couple of uncomfortable situations, and then a family member found me and they were not nice to me, and so I had to protect my mental health, and so I chose to no longer have Facebook. I liked Facebook Marketplace when I had it, but because of that, I simply used Craigslist. And I seem to be blessed with a knack or a talent for finding good deals. And some of you know that I used to restore some vintage trailers, and I tried living in some of the trailers. And it was kind of well, I could get this $200 piece of crap, and maybe I can fix it up. And if I get it fixed up enough, maybe I can live in it and I'll be more comfortable. And I tried it, and I don't like to tow that much. It's not my thing. If it's not a fiberglass trailer or an Airstream, rodents can get inside. And the things that follow rodents, namely snakes, can get inside the walls as well. And I've had that happen. I don't like it. I don't want to deal with it. So I don't do that. Could they get inside the house? Yeah, it would take a little longer. And I hope it won't happen. I did not intend to build a studio. I mean, I settled into the idea, but that was not my first choice when this happened. And I settled into it and I did it. And I still question what I did because I'm uncomfortable when I want to leave. And there's a concern in the back of my mind. Will the cats be here? Will they keep killing will they keep killing the rats and the rodents? Will I come home and find that the cats are dead and the house is full of rats, or the studio's full of rats? That's a big concern for me, and I don't like it. It also is a concern for me that as much as I love property, if my MS was to progress and get worse and I was paralyzed again, I can't take my home with me if I need extra help. And originally that was the whole thought, was I was going to try to get a fiberglass trailer again, and whether I could tow it or not, at least I could take my home with me if I needed to, for example, live in somebody's yard with them, but I'd have my own home with me. Or maybe I could put myself in an RV park closer to, medical care or something if I needed it. That was the original plan, and that was a very good plan. And it still, when I think about the issues or the problems I imagine here, that's the direction I would have preferred. I don't know what that means in the future. I really don't. But how I found my car was on Craigslist. And the knack I have for finding things, whether it's cars or used to be vintage trailers, but whether it be cars, whether it be anything, I just have a tendency to look through. I put the oh crap, I can't think of the word. There's a way to set what you're searching for. There's a word for that. It's not coming to me. Anyways, and so I set it on. I change it from the location, then for sale. Then I put the settings on by owner, and I usually set the amount of money on 0 to, in the case of my car, I went from 0 to 8,000. I didn't want to see anything else, and only by owner. I don't often, unless I'm just watching for a good deal on anything because I'm bored, then I will just look at all the pictures and ads. I will just scroll through whatever's for sale. But when I'm hunting for something specific like a car, I'll put in there that much. And then this time I was searching, I put in, it brought up a lot of motorcycles when I put in Suzuki. And then I would, clear that search bar and I would put in Chevy Tracker. I would let it search through that and I would see some parts lists. Maybe I'd see tires, or I'd see an ad with no picture that said hunting for an engine, and I would read things. And then I would clear the search again and geo tracker, and I would put it. So, I changed the way I was reading it. I often, just for entertainment factor, I will often go in and search for other things like camping gear and camping trailers, and I might change the amount of money to $3,000 and just see what comes up. Because for me, that's a little bit entertainment and fun. And, sometimes I'll look at what the word vintage brings up, or tent. What comes up when you put in tent? And I love to search for things like motorcycle campers, because if I found one, I could tow it with this tracker. I don't know that I want to, but it's possible. So Iris, I hope that answered your question, and I hope you were able to get that all, even with the little glitch in the signal. Let me check if there's more questions. And if I can see them with my eyesight being like it is going through. Oh, okay, I saw that one. Okay. Yeah, I don't see any more questions right now. I've been on about 40 minutes, so we have a few more minutes if anybody has something they want me to touch on. Oh, I missed a whole section of my notes. So let me go back to my notes again for a few minutes here. The whole section that I missed was, so because of does off the grid, full-time camping, homesteading, micro homesteading, nomadic life, van dwelling life, vehicle living, does it suck? Yes and no. And what do I do to manage it? I manage my entire life decision making with priorities. So I prioritize. I try to keep a strong faith and spiritual connection. I journal, and I use therapy. I happen to have a phone therapist that's working really well for me right now. And through my journaling and my therapy, I process and question everything. And I do mean everything. My beliefs, other people's beliefs, things I heard, things people told me, I do all of that. I simplify, and I am going to start talking a little more about keep it simple, silly, because we just need to kiss our way through life. It's the thing that I have found that has helped the most. I have a big aim or goal. And for me, my big things are that I have freedom and I have security. And security means one thing to me, safety is what I mean by security. For me, a lot of my life has not been safe in a physical way or a mental way. And so I really work hard to provide myself with both freedom and safety. And and I don't know why I wrote that other thing, but I'm also working the YouTube a little more so that I can, one, increase my income, and so two, I can build stronger connections. Um, I think that have community. Some of you would have family connection. I don't have that. Some is by choice now, but it wasn't always by choice. I do tend to socialize at the farmers market when I'm here in Apache County, and I usually socialize at the Witchwell Farmers Market. I am working with the YouTube community stuff, and then I have quite a quite a good sized RV schoolie nomad friends connection. And I have been really working hard over the years to learn to connect with them on a more consistent basis. Just like I'm trying to do with you all on YouTube, I'm trying to be consistent with the Sunday lives and the fact that I really like them. So I am beginning to do some research and stuff. I've been watching more YouTube videos, especially some by this guy Nick. I forgot. I don't know how to say his last name, anyways. But about being more consistent with my YouTube presence and providing better content. And I've been doing a lot with how to do this on a budget with my cell phone as my main thing, my main equipment. And so I really am trying to simplify this process so it's not as painful for me to provide you guys with something. And in in the process, it helps to provide me with more community connections, which I think is important for my mental health and, you know, and for being out here. And some of you don't want to be on this side of the camera, and you need connections too. So come on out. Come hang with us on Sunday morning lives, which I am doing 9:30 a.m. Arizona time. You have to figure that out on your own for your time zone. That's Arizona, USA, because we even are having some foreign people come. And yeah, come hang with us and bring your questions. I just ask that you do an uppercase Q, leave a few spaces so that when I try to see it, if I'm on my phone, I can pick it out of the chat faster to try to answer your questions. Um, uh, and I'm also okay. So a few here at home. I'm also I looked at the weather report. That's another thing that takes time is following weather reports when you're either nomadic or van dwelling or whatever, vehicle living, whatever, or full-time camping or living off-grid homesteading, watching the weather. Now, I've practiced over years, and so it takes some time to check the weather and be mindful of what the weather's doing around you, or each week, or however you need to check it. And so this week it's forecasted, when I checked this morning, it's forecasted to possibly have snow flurries this week, but it said snow really at 75, and I'm at 6,500 feet, so I doubt I'll see it. But it's still supposed to be good spring weather like we're having right now. We might get some, sprinkle of rain or something. So I'm starting to work on garden beds, and um, my car is driving a little better. I'd had some problems with it because it had sat for a few years before I purchased it. Um, and we're working the bugs out of that. I was able to go to Sholo to Home Depot this past week, and I love that they have those broken bag deals at Home Depot. I was able to get some um, topsoil, garden soil, and some mushroom compost. I think I got 4 bags for $5. No, I'm sorry. It was 3 bags. Oh, the three bags altogether was $5, and that makes me feel good when I get a deal like that. So, let me check again and see if there's any more. Welcome back. I know I had a phone glitch, so I lost a connection for a minute, but I'm back. Um, uh, will you be here same time Sundays? I have to set my alarm. Yes, I will. I haven't seen you in a couple of years. I hope you're doing well. I am generally doing well. I can't see whose name that is. I apologize. Hi, Lesa. How's Kathleen? I have no idea how Kathleen is. She hasn't been friendly with me for a number of years. I don't know. How do you choose which state or city to look for a car for sale? I tend to look within a short driving distance from myself, but that's because I often have had to have someone else drive me to look at cars in order to buy them. And so um, uh, I try to make it not too far away for any of the people who might need to be the ones taking me, or that I can't afford to pay for their gas to go. So, for example, this trip, I looked further outside my normal 100 miles or 200 miles. I had to expand it because I was hunting for a Azuki product, which meant a Chevy Tracker, Geo Tracker, Suzuki Samurai, oh no, not Samurai, because they're not automatic; they're only manual. Um, Suzuki Sidekick, but because I was looking for those specifically, I looked around my area and it was so limited I had to go larger. But then when I decided to ask someone if they would help me go look at one and maybe get it, then they said, I'm willing for you to look this far away. And so that's why I traveled from northeastern Arizona to southwest California, is where I actually bought the tracker that I have. And so that's quite a distance. That's not my normal. But I was not driving myself to go get a car. I actually, I paid for the gas and the food and stuff to go. And but yeah, that's how I did that. So I hope that helps, Iris. Okay, let me check these again. Good morning. I can't see names very well today because I am reading off my phone, and that's really hard for me to focus on that small font. I apologize that I can't see names right now. We all will be able to get back into this live feed later on today. What happens is YouTube, when I'm talking to you, YouTube actually is loading this so that when I finish and I turn off the live stream, then it loads as a pre-filmed video. And so then it's up for everybody to see. And we can go back in and we can see all those chats. And at that stage, if I see your names and I didn't comment to you, I can comment on the pre-recorded view of it. And yes, I am going to continue Simply Live with SimplyLesa on Sunday mornings at 9:30 Arizona, USA time. Please, figure that out for where you live. And I will be available for between a half hour and an hour are my goals. And if for some reason I am going to not be available, I will do my best to announce it on a community post. And the community posts are available in one of the tabs on the SimplyLesa channel page, as well as if you have liked and subscribed to my channel, then you can hit the notification bell. And when you touch it, it gives you the option for all, personal, or something else. And choose all, and the posts as well should show up in your feed when you see it. And of course, disclaimer, everything is a should, because you never know when it's going to change. So I hope I've given you good content. If you have a health issue or a disability, and now that I'm adding to my disabilities the MS diagnosis, not only, the depression and things, I think that it's important that anyone with a severe disability or a physical disability, whether it's visible or not, I think you need to really, really soul search before you put yourself in an off-grid solo situation. And I do want to say that it sounds not gender appropriate for me to say the next comment, but I'm going to make it because I still find this to be true, that if you are a single, solo, senior woman wanting to live an off-grid life, living in a full-time camping situation in an extremely rural area similar to mine, with wild animals and the possibility for human intruders or thieves, that you need to soul search really well about whether your health will allow you to do this, or whether you should simply visit it. And I am open to, within reason, to people who come and visit and begin to understand whether they could even handle it. It might just be your pipe dream, and it might be your lifestyle and be fine for you. But you need to be able to provide yourself with safety and freedom. And it will cost you money, but it'll cost you energy. And there are some old videos on my channel of me crying. um, and I still occasionally do. Not I've managed my mental health and depression things much better, and my interactions with other people, so I'm not having those same issues. But I do have post-traumatic stress, and so some crying comes from that. Some of my crying comes from my being angry too. But it's hard. And there are times when I shake my head and wonder, why am I doing this? It isn't what I wanted. But the world has changed so much, and it might be what I need, might be what other people need. And maybe I'm just learning to figure that out. But I think it's very, very important to build in breaks from your life. And I think it was important. Um, it was important when I was an international traveler, when I was an expat, when I was a house sitter. Learning who you are and what works for you will help you to prioritize and make those decisions about how what's healthy for you. This last 4.5 months without a car out here in the winter, that is too much for me. I already knew from experience that for me personally, 3 months 3 months in one place is enough. 6 months is painful. Excuse me. And so I'm now going to start practicing building in breaks. And for me, it doesn't matter if I'm, without a car or whatever, there should be a way for me to build in enough of a break from whatever my current situation is so that I don't get overwhelmed and become depressed to the point of giving up. It's easy to come out to a hard situation. When I was living in the tent here, oh, good Lord, 65-mile-an-hour windstorm. I'm crying, talking to God. I can't cook my food because I couldn't make a fire because the wind would blow the fire out, or it would make the fire jump from my fire pit to a tree, and then I would have had a forest fire, and that's not safe. So um, I've been able to upgrade some of my things now, so if I had to do that again, it wouldn't be the same. But being low income and pretty poor often, um, some of those things have been incredibly hard. The having the lightning strike 4 feet away from where I'm sleeping, that'll have you in tears and off kilter, depressed, or whatever. Anxious. I'm trying to think of some other terms. That'll have you off for about 3 months. And then the next time it rains, it'll all come back up for you. And then having a rattlesnake inside the wall of the trailer, and the rattlesnake is inside the wall of the trailer, about 6 feet from where your head lays on your pillow. Oh, that'll make you just about ready for a funny farm. I had that situation for 3 months one year. That's enough to put anybody in a not good mental state, an unhealthy mental state. So it's not for the lighthearted, and I dealt with it the best I could. But I'm being serious here. Arizona has wild animals. The weather is much better for my health. I kind of like having 4 seasons. I don't want to really be here and be stuck for 3 or 4 months or 6 months. I like to move around. I like to travel. I like to camp. I love to drive 4-wheel drive on dirt roads. I saw the Arizona Trail information 3 years ago. I would love to drive that Arizona Trail and camp along the way. Yeah, being stuck here 24/7 was never my idea. So, and I'm not saying that to gripe. I'm saying these things, my whole point here is living off grid, whatever form of off grid you choose, is gonna suck sometimes. And sometimes it's gonna be your, oh my God, I live in the most beautiful place in the world. I whatever. It's gonna be your wonderful time, most gorgeous time as well, most peaceful as well. So just know it's sucky and it's fabulous. And thank you so much for visiting with me this morning on Simply Live with Simply Lesa. And I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate all the fantastic gifts. I have had monetary gifts given to me. I've had people get in my Amazon wish list and gift me items that I have put out there. I haven't updated that in a little while. I have had gifts of, neighbors just lending me their ear so that I'm not, wigging out on something, or having neighbors that are willing to be kind and help me out with a project, and they know I'll do the same thing back. Appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope that you will continue to live your dreams, make every day an adventure, and kiss your way through life. Keep it simple. This is Simply Lesa, or this has been Simply Lesa. Okay. And here we go again. I don't know how to turn it off, but I'll get it. Yes, I want to stop. Hit that. Okay. Whoops, whoops, whoops.